Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to the second week of Major 2 qualifiers beginning later on today. The New York Subliners though have still not confirmed what their roster is going to be for this week. Many questions being raised on the Clayster front and what is happening over there, but also Shotzzy revealing the mindset that he believes is going to take OpTic far this season. Very much intriguing your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, this from the London Royal Ravens. Once again, Vanguard never ceasing to amaze. Zero just runs into all. Unlucky son, you're gonna die. Now, well, of course, last week they had to play with Paul X because Gizmo went back to the UK due to some personal issues. He's now back in business in the US. So great to see for the London guys. This was kind of funny actually because last week there was a picture with all the London team plus Paul X with the cardboard cutout of Gizmo. Now the real deal is back in business. So Zero makes it very clear that like, yes, he's back. Scrims resume today. Wow, what a day indeed it is. They get a match later on today against the Paris Legion. We'll look at the schedule here towards the end of the video. The New York guys do not play until tomorrow, but I mean, yeah, Paris, I'm pretty sure both those matches, London and New York, the first 2 days, not so straightforward by any means. But of course, last week, Paul X was subbing in for this team. There was a question, okay, if Gizmo doesn't get back in time, like, is it possible that Paul X subs in for them again? But of course, well, they might have had to get another option, given the fact that Paul X, we imagine, is going to be joining New York. Still, for some reason, New York take all this time to actually confirm what they're going to be doing. Feel like in previous roster changes as well, they've really left it to the last minute. So still, questions do remain, and there's been some back and forth, like, okay, what is bait, what is not bait, on whether Clay is benched, whether he's out of the team, whether he's going to be moving into a coach, GM, management position, who even knows what he's planning to do over there. But yeah, hopefully we'll get more details over, hopefully in 24 hours or so, because their match does happen tomorrow, as I just mentioned. Anyway, some more Rostermania stuff to discuss in challenges. First of all, I think they were called 18 and Cracked team of Assault Exceed and Shawnee, or Classic, sorry. They've dropped Shawnee and brought in Spart. Quite interesting really, because there has also been some talk about, okay, LAG, if they want to make a move at some point, is Spart an option there? That's the team of 4 they're going for, because to be fair, this team was doing great, well, the great things in challenges at the early part of this season, but the most recent weeks, right, it's just been Texas Nation dominating things. General, Havoc, Brezzy, and Kismet, of course. That team of 4, I think they get a lot of scrims up against the regular, like the actual OpTic Texas team, and therefore, well, I think that's one of the reasons probably they're stretching their advantage. Diamond Con, Vellum, Royalty, and Prolete are also now a team, so yeah, I mean, Royalty no longer on that team. We already knew that, but he's not coming back anytime soon. You would imagine into the New York Subliners. Just to mention this as well real quick, because it was in the reply, bro, can you try and get some intel on whether we get a process episode before Jams? Greenwall needs it, and well, Roger gets out and he comes back with this one in the reply. So who knows, right? We're kind of expecting a process now for quite some time, but well, hopefully it arrives at some point or another. Maybe Rod just saying that it's Hitch's fault it's not here already. I don't really know, but yeah, it's always good because a lot of the organizations right now, they're doing behind the scenes content. The OpTic stuff is always fantastic. It just takes a bit longer than I think some people would like it to, right? But as long as it's good, then I suppose that's okay at the end of the day. This also then from the Clayster front. So yesterday he tweets this out. Interestingly enough, since deleted, should I stream me playing the Cycle today? So this game called the Cycle, I think people have been playing it on stream the last few days, all this type of stuff. Don't really know all that much about it. But of course, this would imply, right, if you were saying, okay, I'm going to play this other game today, not Vanguard, not anything Call of Duty related, he's probably not going to be playing it like in their matches tomorrow, right? You'd imagine that if he was getting ready for this weekend's matches, he'd be playing more Vanguard than he would have another game. Of course, I suppose you can play the scrims and hop off and play another game after the fact, but still I thought I was looking at this thinking, okay, well maybe this indicates he's not exactly going to be playing in the team this weekend, as is the general growing suspicion right now around this New York Subliners roster. He did also reply to this further on as well, so just showing that tweet was indeed deleted. And again, some further details came out actually, I believe this was in Methodz stream. A couple of you guys pointed this out to me that Slack said in the chat Clayster is benched, and everyone was like, yo, Intel, what's going on here? He then comes out and follows up with, I'm not drunk. Clay told me today on my stream he was benched. So, I mean, yeah, seems like that's the case. Of course, what is next for Clayster? That is another big question mark, right? Is he going to go into a retirement home? Is he actually going to have another role within the New York roster or an organization? Is there even a possibility of him coming back into the team? Right? Because who knows? If whatever new roster they bring in doesn't work, like, does Crim go to the bench and Clay comes back in? Like, honestly, what a mess they found themselves in, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, that does seem to be the implication right now. The other question mark, though, was there was some bait coming out. Kazoom was on stream last night, Methodz was in the chat, and I believe he said that they'd scrimmed the Boston guys up against the New York Subliners. I'll show the clip for you guys here in just a second, but Methodz basically says, wow, Clay was frying me. If Methodz says something like this, like Clay was frying, probably he's just baiting, right? This is how Methodz is. More than likely, Clay wasn't even in the scrim, and they're playing the new roster, which is supposedly Crim6, Hydra, Paul X +1. I don't really know the fourth right now. I guess we'll find out. If it doesn't get leaked before they announce it, then fair play to New York, because usually these things come out way before the fact, and it is quite nice on occasion to have an announcement which you didn't actually predict happening. Even though in this case we certainly can predict the announcement, but it's just not necessarily clear who the actual 4 players are going to be on the roster.
No, you know.
Yeah, we scrimmed New York today. Clay was
frying.
Was he?
Yeah.
I actually heard New York smoked you guys. Like that ass.
Oh, I don't give a what you heard.
I actually got map count as well.
Oh, well, I don't give a single.
So what do you guys think about that, right? His Methodz just clearly baiting it more than likely. I mean, Zuma's kind of, saying a few things as well. The likely it is, Clayster's probably gone off this lineup on what we've heard the last few days, which is certainly sad to see, right? And of course, what he does next is still a massive question mark. But yeah, still, New York haven't confirmed anything as of yet. You guys were speculating, and understandably so, on potential rosters he could go to the rest of this season. I really do think that after the Stage 2 Major, there is going to be a significant shuffle between some of the top teams. So, well, if Clayster Hill has the fire to compete, maybe he'll go somewhere else. But, just at his point in his career, I'm sure it's difficult to get the motivation up to do that. If there is other coaching, general management type opportunities available within this organisation or other organisations that he could slot into and get more time to kind of relax and play games on stream that he might want to do. But, that itch to still play competitively. We saw Tom Brady not that long ago, right? He retired at age of, 42 or however old Tom Brady is. 44, actually, I just Googled it, and he's making the return because he's still got an itch to compete, right? So we shall see how time progresses. Time will only tell. Let's talk about this then briefly, because OpTic do play their first match of the week later today. Big matches all across the board, to be honest. Of course, last week they beat Los Angeles Thieves, Game 5, Round 11. This week they have two matches that are theoretically easier, because the last match of next week is up against FaZe, which are not one you want to kind of leave there with, needing to win, for example, based on how the seeding might potentially go. Of course, I'm sure OpTic might throw in some maps here or there today, and in the next series as well against Florida, that, potentially they're just trying to get reps on and get practice in, as they did against Thieves. But you've still got to win the series if you want to qualify, of course. This I thought was pretty interesting. Dashy did a nice interview with Shotzzy here, kind of talking about, how he felt after their Major 1 victory, and just a few thoughts really on the team in general. Some of his statements I thought were pretty impressive. He talked about iLLeY, the fact that it's great to see him grow into the leadership role. That was kind of one of the questions last year, that on the squad of last year there wasn't really a clear leader. You would have thought, to be honest, looking at last year's OpTic Chicago team, that Scump and Formal would have done a lot of the leadership heavy lifting, but often it seemed to be put onto Envoy to make plays in certain situations. I think he did a decent job at times, but it wasn't super clear that he was having a great impact in terms of the leadership within the team. And then this year, of course, it's kind of iLLeY has been forced to take on that role as well. A very young player. Shotzzy's very impressed with him right here, that despite him even being younger than Shotzzy, he's doing a fantastic job in the leadership side. He also praises Scump for his willingness to do pretty much anything for the team. You'd have thought maybe a veteran guy like Scump, if a new guy, younger guy on the team says, okay, we're going to do this round, and even if it sounds like a stupid idea, Scump will just go with it anyway, and that's pretty much the perfect team that you could ask for. But also saying that, look, this year, even if they don't win tournaments, they're always looking to learn from their mistakes. And that is the key. As Rambo's always said, winning is teaching, losing is learning.
It's honestly really cool witnessing Ender form into this type of leader player, because obviously he's young. I'm older than him, and he's our leadership. So it's I'm witnessing him becoming a leader, which is really cool, because me and him really bounce off each other really, really good. There's teammates where you tell them to do something, and there's times where they don't want to do it, or no, I feel like this is better. But whatever you tell Seth, he's going to do it. Even if he doesn't think it's going to work, he's going to do it. So what me and my teammates say is that you can always rely on Seth, just because he's just that type of player and teammate. Obviously, like I said, the goal is to win every single major. But if we don't, as long as we learn from when we lose, that's all that I'm really focusing is about, because I really want to figure out why we lost, and we could build off that. So yeah, that's definitely the game plan.
So I think a good mindset in general here for the OpTic guys. I've just been impressed by, the way Shotzzy's carried himself, and of course iLLeY as well, and Rambo since stepping into the team. The team culture just seems very different to how it was before. Last year there was so much talk about the fact that, okay, they weren't really putting in the effort that they needed to be. All these other issues, they would lose a tournament or something, but they would try and take the positives away. But there were just so many dangers that they had to deal with last year as well. They didn't really put this team in the best possible position. Shotzzy's making it clear that, look, even if they do lose tournaments, even if they do lose series, they're going to do their best to learn from those mistakes. And that was kind of the key, because last year, really, there was so many times where they seemed to have, suffer from the same mistakes again and again and again. There was all this talk about the amount of difficult losses that they suffered last season, which certainly was true, but you'd have thought after suffering a few difficult losses, you'd maybe get focused on finding a way to not do that in the future, right? Which wasn't really the way that things worked out for that squad last season. So Shotzzy's making it clear what they're thinking. Honestly, I think Rambo's just kind of revolutionized the mindset to some degree within this roster, which probably is going to help them as time progresses. Speaking quickly of the team they vanquished last last weekend, LA Thieves and the crazy getting 5 round 11. I mean, what is this, to be honest? I think this has been a thing for a few years now. I don't know if it's the current game engine we have, but yeah, I don't know what is going on Envoy's screen, to be honest. Like, he's been abducted by aliens or something. They also did mention this. I mean, look at Jacob's face. I thought it was hilarious. So they did a video right at the kind of 0 to 100s. They called it time for a change, so obviously I had to click on it. They're not making a change, but a clickable title nonetheless. They are certainly learning from the best. But anyway, they go through it here, right? Like, Jacob's face at the end just does crack me up. So basically they ask him, like, are you going to make a roster change? No, look, they're not going to make a roster change as of yet. They're saying, okay, for now, it's okay. But, I mean, look, still, there is a possibility there at some point or another. It's still like, look, who do you even replace on this team? Like, okay, so far they've looked okay. But for Nadeshot, right, and the organization in general, the intention was here to bring in a team that actually could win. And, well, so far they haven't really been able to do that. Losing their first couple of games as well here so far in this stage does not put them in the best position to get to winners. They don't play today, but they do play tomorrow against Minnesota. If they lose that one, they're 0-2, at which one 0-3, sorry, at which point they've got a very difficult chance, indeed, given their map count right now, of getting into the winners bracket. We'll see how it goes, obviously, but let's say Thieves do make it into the losers bracket for the major. They come out the major like top 8 or something. Then their first 2 events of the season, they've placed top 6, top 8. Then you've got this kind of potentially after stage 2 major Rostermania chaos. Like, they might decide to make a move. I don't know. I don't think they'll be keen to, but you know, maybe something has to give or take at some point. Jacob certainly knows all about that one, as we saw last year. These then the matches coming up later on today. So London versus Paris game 1, the battle of kind of the European teams, at least the European based teams. But yeah, this really shouldn't be all that much of a battle, at least based on last week's performance. London should be at least as good as they were with Paul-X, if not slightly better, with Gizmo back in the lineup as well, and the chemistry that they've built up for a few months at this point. Paris looked honestly woeful last week with Jimbo in the team. I think their comms were just completely terrible. The slaying power doesn't really seem to be there, to be honest. Maybe they can win a map, but to be honest, I'm going to go London 3-0. Then we've got Surge versus OpTic. This is honestly the pick of the series for the day for me, no doubt about it. Surge coming off that big victory last week and get to Atlanta FaZe. OpTic, of course, coming in hot off that victory against Thieves. I do feel like OpTic are going to throw in a couple of maps here, maybe just 1 map or 2 maps. They're not so comfortable, and maybe they do go down the route of a Siege, Search and Destroy, getting game 2, try and make that one work. So I can see Surge taking a map here, but I think that OpTic are just the better team. They'll win this one 3-1. Then we've got Minnesota Rokkr versus the Boston Breach, and in fairness, I have said the last few weeks that I would always give kind of a hot take every day, but I don't really even know what the hot take is here, to be honest. And I think Boston are probably the better team than Rokkr, but I do want to see Rocker's role change finally come to some fruition. I feel like they might take it here in a game 5. I think that Boston, though, like, I don't know, they've been improving a lot as of late, so I'm excited about the Boston team, but I think that Rokkr will somehow sneak this one out game 5, and they'll do the same against Thieves tomorrow, but we'll see on that front. And just to mention this before we close out, on this day, yesterday, back in 2013, Farico Impact go on to win MLG Dallas. Like, yeah, what a squad. Karma, Miracles, Killer. I mean, Parasite, of course, here on the left-hand side. The first win of their 4-peat of championships, EGL9 Blackpool, Cold Chubs 2013, and then UMG St. Louis. Yeah, different type of Call of Duty, but very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting a like button tells the YouTube gods this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well, and upgrow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
I stubbed his toe, dude.
Hey, isn't he?
Yo, AG.
Idiot.
Yo, who's a idiot? Who's a
You are stupid, bro.
You sound so dumb.
How do I sound dumb? How do I think you sound dumb.
Bro, you were dumb, dude.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yo, dude. Yo, AD, they been calling. He's been doing that voice all day.
I know, bro. I know.
All day, bro.
Yeah, I know, bro.
Wait, Donnie, why are you gassing us any sense?
I can't stop doing it, dude.